Slow key, and I say I am Mr. Super Facts. Let's talk about it. Today's topic is the demon of validation. I repeat, the demon of validation, starring Bricc Baby. Dear Bricc Baby, let's have a real conversation, right? Now, Bricc Baby is a content creator on No Jumper slash like a rapper. Um, he's connected to a lot of people in the industry. You know, allegedly he's a gang member. Okay. Um, I remember watching No Jumper. I just started watching No Jumper like last year, maybe a year or two ago, right? And I started watching No Jumper because of Crip Mac. Cause I was just like this dude, and it's just funny. Like I always end up, finding people entertaining that I hate in the beginning. Like when I first saw Crip Mac, I was like, who is this weird ass, goofy ass Negro? Get this motherfucker off my phone. And then he just grew on me. No dig. I was like, damn, I love this nigga. This nigga Crip Mac is hilarious. And then they was doing podcasts with Bricc Baby. Same thing. I hated Bricc Baby because I felt like Bricc Baby was the classic textbook hood narcissist, right? That just he had to, every time they talk about another celebrity, he would have to make the story about him. Like, yeah, he'd be like, yeah, I met him, we was hanging out, da da. And they were like, and people would be like, wait, is he capping? Does he really know these other celebrities? Or is he just be making shit up? You know what I'm saying? So he's one of those people that always felt like he hijacked the story and make every single story about him. You know what I'm saying? And but over time, he grew on me. I was like, all right, I kind of fuck with Bricc Baby as far as his like spirit. You know what I'm saying? So when I say people, grow on me, just I'm talking about their spirit. You know what I'm saying? So so anyway, Bricc Baby is in the fucking I don't know if he's in jail, prison, or the feds. I think they're in a federal prison right now. It's a lot of weird behavior because once again he does a podcast with the Grand Mason, okay, aka the King of LA. I repeat, okay, all right, the King of LA, Mr. Grand Mason himself. So he does a podcast, and these people, once they got locked up, I guess they're in federal prison, and they're still calling into the podcast and talking about things, and it's just like I just don't get it. And that's why we had the conversation about the demon of validation, man. This guy Bricc Baby, from what he said, from what the research shows, he comes from like a hood rich type of family. Allegedly, his family was getting a lot of money out the street. You know what I'm saying? And they were allegedly investing into, they were getting illegal money out the street that they converted into legal money. And, he lived, he had access to money. When he was growing up, let's have a real conversation. But it's just so sad. It's like literally, it's like a spiritual disease, seeking validation from fucking, whether it be the people in your hood or the people on social media, the internet, or complete fucking strangers. You know what I'm saying? It's disgusting. It's a spirit. It's deeper than the mental, the physical, psychological. It's a spiritual fucking disease when you literally will sacrifice your own freedom just because you worried about how other people think of you. It's crazy, so apparently they're using a lot of things that he said on this fucking podcast with the king of LA. They're using his own words against him. He was on the podcast, he crashed out, right? He went into a Crip rage, allegedly, and he was talking about how he's murdered more people than another individual has gotten into fistfights with. And once again, you gotta remember, when this shit goes to court or whatever, it's not about what a person knows, is about what they can prove. So anybody can say shit, anybody can talk shit, anybody can put sauce on it and lie and shit, or tell the truth. But when it comes down to it, can they prove what a person said is true? You know what I'm saying? Let's have a real conversation. Who knows? Who fucking knows? Really, who gives a fuck? But who knows if he exterminated people or deleted people or eradicated people? Who the hell knows? And more importantly, who cares? You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing to do with my ass or anybody I fuck with. Let's keep it real. So it's a very weird situation that I feel like that was the reason, one of the reasons why you got to stay away from, joining a gang or participating in like a hive mind, that hive mind mentality, or, because I remember growing up, you know what I'm saying, in high school, and just like, it's a game. That's the whole game. That's how you really, like, if you wanted to be popular, it depends. And even out of high school, but it's like, if you want to be popular, you got to have, people, however people think. You have to manipulate how people think about you. You know what I'm saying? Let's have a real conversation. So it's just stupid when at the end of the day, it never mattered. It never mattered what another person thought about you, felt about you, when they don't do shit for you, right? So these guys, they want the world to perceive them as like, the toughest guys on earth, and the most hardcore gangsters and shit, and it's just like, it don't work like that. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I've always felt like the biggest gangster in the room is the one that you don't know what they look like. You just don't know. You know what I mean? You wouldn't even notice them. You don't know what their voice sound like. They could walk right past you. That'd be the biggest gangster in the world. You know what I mean? The one that is quietly, getting things done. Let's have a real conversation. So, another thing that really bothers me about that whole, like, the whole just pseudo gangster facade, let's have a real conversation. It's just like, these dudes, these are felons. Now let's have a conversation about facts. These are felons. These are convicted felons that's walking around on the streets, claiming to be gang affiliated. They put everything on their hood. They put everything on their dead homies, on literal dead human beings, right? Which I think is disrespectful when you talking about on the dead homies every 5 seconds, and you don't even do any, there's no results. You know what I'm saying? That's mad disrespect. But anyway, so once again, I'm from the East Coast. We don't do that over here. At least I don't. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so the thing that bothers me the most is I just feel like a lot of these pseudo gangsters, it's not coming from a place of like a real gangster mentality. It's not coming from a place of like in a American Gangster, when Denzel Washington blows Idris Elba's fucking brains out in broad daylight. It's not coming from a place like that. I feel like a lot of this pseudo gangster shit nowadays comes from a place of just supreme immaturity and insecurity and just flat out weakness, and these individuals, they can't see. I'm more of like a John Wick archetype. I've never in my whole life, if I had 5 niggas that wanted to fight me at one time, I'm not asking for help from nobody. I'm like, okay, I'm about to go pick some shit up and I'm about to kill, I'm not kidding, but I'm about to fight 5 niggas at one time by myself, and I'm not gonna ask for help from nobody else. Win, lose, or draw. And if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. But where I get the gratification is I stood I stood up for myself by myself. That's where I get the spiritual gratification. And not just when it comes to physical combat and stuff like that, on any level. When I stand up for myself by myself, that's when I feel whole. That's when I can live and die with the consequences. When I got to call somebody to come help me, you know what I'm saying? When I got a call for help, I feel like a pussy. I feel like a bitch. It rubbed my soul the wrong way. So that's why I never got into, I never was attracted to joining a gang or anything like that. Everybody has an opportunity when they growing up to join a gang, to put on a fucking whatever flag, choose what flag you want to go under, whatever goofy shit you want to get into, right? Let's have a real conversation. I chose not to do that because I know I'm crazy enough for the whole game. See, you gotta know yourself in this world. I know in my core, in my heart, I'm crazy enough I'm a whole gang by myself. I got enough demons inside of me. Okay, the biggest gang? The biggest gang in Jersey is me and these demons inside of me. That's the biggest gang in New Jersey. Let's have a real conversation. So the thing that bothers me is, it's all of this like yapping. It's just certified professional Hall of Fame yapping, where these individuals talk about how gangster they are and how they make people disappear and things of that nature. But it's like they never make the people that's coming to lock them up disappear. Let's have a real conversation. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. So, hold on. Like, these people will unalive their own kind. I don't get it. They'll unalive their own kind. Somebody that look just like them, same skin complexion, somebody that's right down the block. They'll take their life and call them opposition. But when the police, when the cops, when the feds is kicking their door down, running up in their house, putting them in handcuffs and throwing them in fucking a cage, throwing them in hell, where's the resistance? That's the thing. That's the thing where it's like, I don't get. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing that I don't get. Where's this same energy for the individual that's coming to throw you in hell? That's the most violating shit that could ever happen to a gangster. The federal government, people with guns kicking down your shit, yoking you up, throwing you in a fucking cage. Where is all of this gangster energy for them? And I'm just like, you would think, right? Like, maybe I watch too many fucking movies. Maybe that's my problem, right? Maybe I watch too many movies. But if I was gonna be if I was gonna be a gangster, and I was like, I'm gonna choose this life of illegal activity, and this is just the life that I'm gonna choose, right? The very first thing I would do is do research. The very first, allegedly, right? If I was in a movie or something, if I was in a movie, right? If I was the Black John Wick, the very first thing I'm doing is figuring out, the names and addresses and doing all the background information on the judges and the politicians and the attorneys and the prosecutors and all of that shit. That's the very first thing that I'm doing where I'm, participating in illegal activity. I want to know these individuals' lives front to back, because at the end of the day, it's sad to say, but this world that we living in, when you out here if you trying to, if you live in a life that's like, you just the type of person that say, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm not gonna I'm not working a 9 to 5. I'm gonna get it how I want to get it and stuff like that. It's not just as easy as that. You have to do your research, and you have to this world revolves around leverage. Just have a real conversation. This world revolves around leverage. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't get these individuals that claim to be so hard and so gangster and cutthroat and ruthless and all of this shit, but they stupid criminals. Let's have a real conversation. They're just stupid criminals. They just don't make criminals like they used to, I guess. So like I said, the first thing you're gonna do is gain leverage. That's the reason. That's how this world works. That's how the underworld works. Leverage. One word. Period. That's why these people that control all the world, the land, the resources, you know what I'm saying? The oil, the money, the food, all of this shit, right? Nothing ever happens to these people. They're never really punished for their crimes because they have leverage on the motherfuckers that's supposed to be in charge, you know what I mean, of law and order. Let's have a real conversation. So long story short, what am I saying? Bricc baby, yo dumbass, allegedly, your dumbass should have been able to look the judge in the eye, or whoever, judge, prosecutor, DA, whoever the fuck. You should be able to, if you're such a gangster and they said he's a millionaire, he might be a multi-millionaire. If you have the resources and you claim to be as crazy as you are to do to do the things that you do in the street, you should be able to look the judge or whoever the fuck is in the eye, and they should know that if they punish you or do something to you or strip you of your freedom, whatever, there's going to be consequences for them. Okay? And I know that everything I'm saying is going against fucking TOS, okay? Might not even leave this video up. Maybe I watch too many movies, but all I know is, it just makes the most logical sense. Before you commit to a life of fucking crime, you should probably commit to being a smart criminal. You should probably commit to doing research, you know what I'm saying, in your area of the people that can take away your freedom. You should probably gain some fucking leverage in the world before you think you're untouchable. Let's have a real conversation. Man, I don't know what's wrong with Negroes, bro. I don't know what's wrong with these Negroes, man. I don't know what's wrong with them. But it's like everybody just want to go outside and do some ignorant, illegal bullshit, but nobody want to do the research. Nobody wants to do the research, you know what I'm saying, to figure out how to get away with it. How do you get away with murder? How do you get away with crime? How do you get away with what? How do you get away that you can ask fucking ChatGPT? How about that? Before you go outside, you know what I'm saying, and you catch a body or you participate in whatever illegal activity, nigga, just ask. Can you do me a favor? Can you just ask ChatGPT? Okay, how do I make my op disappear? Okay, without going to prison for the rest of my fucking life. How do I do that, ChatGPT? Don't ask Siri, don't ask Alexa. Ask ChatGPT. I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. It's the same story over and over and over and over again. These dudes are riding around with switches on their guns. They riding around with illegal modifications on guns. You got felons carrying guns, you know what I'm saying? And when it seemingly seemingly when it's time to use it, they don't. I could never see myself in a situation where I got a fucking big ass gun in my fucking lap, right? Or next to my bed, right? And somebody kick my door down and I allow them to take me away. I'm sorry. I guess I just don't love life enough. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my opinion on that. You know what I'm saying? Once again, I'm not uh telling people to do anything illegal or anything like that. It's just my mind starts to wander and I'm just like, I don't get it. You know, like I said, the way I was brought up, you know, uh I was just always told since I was a child, say what you mean and mean what you say. And I was also told nobody likes a tattletale. It's just funny how, like, when I was growing up, you know what I'm saying? I was taught these life lessons that I didn't know what the fuck as a kid. I didn't, but as an adult, I cherish that shit. You know what I'm saying? I see I see shit all the, sometimes I see shit and then a cop will pull up a couple minutes later and be like, did you know? Don't ask me shit, bro. I don't know nothing. Don't ask me nothing. I don't know nothing. I don't know shit. Okay? Call me Kawhi. I'm not saying shit, nigga. The fuck? You know what I'm saying? And say what you mean and mean what you say. I realize we live in a world. It's the average person just yap. The average person just talk. The average person say shit all day long and don't even fucking. There's no. It's not a fucking percentage of like genuine like meaning behind it. And I've never been like that, so just can't relate to that. It's foreign to me and I don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Every single word that comes out of my fucking mouth is precise. I think I strongly, strategically choose every single word that I say. So I can't relate to people that just run their mouth and don't, you know, this nigga got two. I ain't never seen that. This nigga got a gas tank on both sides of his car. So I guess one side is electric. This is too much. This nigga's is doing too much, man. So yeah, once again, I am that person that will say, I don't wish that shit on nobody. I don't wish throwing somebody in a cage on nobody. How is somebody gonna be rehabilitated by being thrown in a fucking cage? And then you treat them like fucking shit. They get beat the fuck up. They get beat the fuck up by the cops that's supposed to take care of them. They get fucking killed and raped by their peers. How are you supposed to be rehabilitated like that? My thing is, I'm like, just throw them all on an island. Don't send all the fucking felons and these monsters or whatever, these evil motherfuckers, send them to Epstein Island. That's what I say. And let them have like a Royal Rumble. You know what I'm saying? That would be the biggest fucking thing ever streamed. If you had like a 24-hour felon Royal Rumble on Epstein Island. Oh my God. That is a whatever's after trillion, okay? That is every day motherfuckers will be glued to the screen to watch felons, to see what's gonna happen on Felon Island. To see what's gonna happen on Felon Island. Let's have a real conversation, man. All right, I'm up out of here. It is what it is, man. I'm like I said, I would never in my heart would I say, oh, I hope this person go to jail or I hope this person. No, like I don't care what a person do. Either dump them all on the island or put them in front of a firing squad. But that's just I would never in life, man. Nobody deserves to be tortured. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. It is what it is. But I know one thing. Dude need to stop running his mouth. These dudes need to stop running their mouth, calling in from federal prison, doing podcasts. This is the most absurd shit. And when this is becoming normalized, this is the most absurd idiocracy shit I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. You know what I mean? Niggas is doing 3-way, 4-way calls on a federal prison phone. Oh my God. This is crazy.